an African art museum, sports grounds, and all the amenities of a North American university, such as Princeton. Want to check on envisions opening campuses in East Africa, Nairobi, and West Africa, Abidjan, eventually serving 15,000 students. Want to check on has designed a curriculum he thinks will allow his students to compete with the best in the world. It focuses heavily on quantitative methods and research skills. Students will also be acquainted with the basics of African economic history. One of the things that separates us from other continents is that we know less about ourselves. He says, for example, few Africans have heard of the Amazons, an all women elite military unit within the King of Dahomey, the African kingdom that occupied what is now Benin. The unit was created in 1645 by King Hoegbadija Hoegbadja and continued until was disbanded by the French colonial administration in 1894. Want to check on currently spends 4 months a year on his homeland, but as the school grows, Want check on 60 intends to spend more time in Benin. I see my role being there to stimulate research, not to manage things on a daily basis, he says, but he also wants to remain closely connected with Princeton and other U.S. universities. Even after my retirement, I will always, to some degree, want to be part of a place like this. It is a way to be grateful for the opportunities I was offered, and remaining connected with the university like Princeton and contributing to knowledge is something I'd like to continue, he says. An eclectic researcher, Dahomey was a major supplier of slaves to European slave traders during the 17th and 18th centuries. So many Africans were put in bondage from Dahomey that it was called the Slave Coast. Wantchekon says the legacy of slavery is pervasive. He remembers when he was growing up hearing friends joking that this person will sell you or make you disappear. Those attitudes seem to bespeak a general societal condition that puzzled Wantchekon. A lack of trust between people who sometimes had lived decades together as friends, colleagues, and neighbors. Intuitively, he says he thought that this must have some connection with the slave trade, and later he became captivated with that idea. To get a better understanding of the mistrust, he got in touch with Harvard's nun, who had been studying the long term effects of slave trade on economic development. They began to exchange views and eventually co authored what would be one of Wantchekon's most influential papers, The Slave Trade and the Origins of Mistrust in Africa, which was published in the American Economic Review in 2011 and has been cited by other scholarly research more than 700 times since.